Alright guys, in this video we're going to be looking in depth into what tables are, what they can do, and how do we create them. So in order for us to go and access the table category screen, we can go from on the left hand side where it says all access objects, click on that, and then from there we can go to tables. And once that's there, then from the top menu right next to where it says home, click on create. And from here we have different ways of creating tables. One is just the basic one, which will go to the visit and create the tables for you, or we can create the table by clicking on table design. So we're going to be doing that. So I'm going to click on this, and here it's going to come up and say this is what the table 1 is. So by default, what Microsoft Access does is it gives the table name to be table 1. If you create one after that, it's going to call table 2, table 3, so on and so forth. And within this table, we can have different fields, and this could be anything you want. So for example, if I call this table table 1, just what the name says, and I want to have 2 different fields, and one field can hold, let's say, ID number. So in this case, I could just type in ID, and then if I go over to data type, and in here I can identify what kind of data type will this particular field will have. And Access gives us quite a few different options we can pick from. We can have it where it will be a text, which will be limited to only 255 characters, or we can have a memo, which means it can have unlimited, well, not unlimited, but I think about 65,000 characters. And then we can have it as a number, and within this number field you can identify whether the number could be just a whole number like 1 2 3 4 5, or it could be a decimal point like 0.005 or 1.25 or something like that. And then we can also have an option where we can tell this field to be a date or time field, currency, and auto num, which means it will automatically increase every time a record get inserted in the table. It will take the next number. So for example, if the previous record has number of 10, when the new record gets inserted, it will go up to 11, and the one after that 12, one after that 13, so on and so forth. And then also gives you an option of creating a checkbox whether it will be a yes or no. And then rest of these we don't really use as much. Well, I don't personally use it because most people don't even refer to them, so most of them just stop at yes or no. So we're gonna leave it here. So for this particular field, I'm gonna say increase this by automatically by 1. So I'm gonna say auto number, and then after that I'm gonna add another field called name. So I'm just gonna say name, and then for this name field, I'm gonna take this off. For this name field, I want the text to be, alright, Microsoft doesn't like to use specific words because it's part of the database structure. So what we could do is we can say, rather than saying name, we can say user_name. And then for this field, I want it to be a text value, so person can type in whatever they feel like, up to 250 character. So with that said, I'm going to save this table by going to the save button right here. I'm gonna click on save, then it's gonna say, hey, do you want to save this as table 1? And there is a naming convention that most people use. For table, they like to prefix it by using 3 character, which are TBL for table, or QRY for queries, and FRM for farm, and then report RPT. Those are the 3 naming prefix that people typically use when they are creating to identify which is which, whether it is a table, query, form, or report. For my personal use, I like to shorten that up. So for my table, I just use the capital T for table and capital Q for queries and capital F for form, and then you probably guessed it by now, capital R for report. So for this particular table, I'm going to name this T data. And then I'm going to click OK. And it's going to ask us, there is no primary key. Do you want to add it? I'm just going to say yes. So it automatically, as you can see, right next to the ID column field, it has what looks like a key, which is known as a primary key. So I'm going to save this again, and then if I open this in view, and in here it will automatically have the primary key, which I don't have to enter this in. If I type in, let's just say text, as you can see, as I type that in, it automatically added 1 to it. So if I go to the next record, and by the way, these are called records, which are different lines. So in Access, they are referred to as record. In Excel, they're known as row. So if I go to the next line and type in name, as you can see, it created a new ID of number 2. Because this is auto incremented, it will always go to the next available number, which in this case will be 2. If I go to the next one and I type in let's just say KU, and added number 3. Hope you get the picture. So this is in a nutshell what tables are. In the next video, we're going to be looking at queries. So I'll see you guys in the next video.